Last week, we watched possibly the best Superman movie ever made. This week, we did it. I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Welcome back to our show where we're reviewing every single superhero movie that's ever been released theatrically. Today, we're talking about Superman 2. Let's get into it.
So, in Superman 1, we left off with Lex Luthor being taken to jail. Superman 2 picks up very soon after. Clark is still a very awkward guy working at the Daily Planet, working with Lois Lane. And it really delves a lot into their romance. They get closer throughout the movie. And as well as that, we get General Zod, who comes down and wreaks some havoc and causes some problems for our hero. So I don't know if this is just us being like comic like nitpickers.
It can't be. No, dude.
But
it can't be.
at the same time, I felt like I was like trapped in Arkham Asylum for the majority of this movie.
Yeah, bro. Like, this movie felt like 3 hours. I don't even... Where do we start talking about this?
Okay, I think let's start with some positives because
Okay.
there are some positives to this movie. Like I don't want to be too just like overtly negative.
Yeah.
We'll save that for Superman 4. There were some good things with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Number one, they still really nailed how Clark is as Clark and how he is as Superman Kal-El.
Agreed.
They really just phoned in again on his very awkward, stumbling around kind of persona he's got going on.
Yeah.
That I really like. Like the first 50 minutes of the movie before before you realize the kind of movie it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I enjoyed like 90% of it.
Yeah, honestly, dude, the best thing about the movie is still Christopher Reeve, and I think that'll carry on for Superman 3 and 4 as well. It'll be like the only silver lining that we'll find in any of these movies.
One other plus is still the music.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of like a cheap one to bring up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's John Williams, it's gonna be fire.
Yeah. I think the first movie had a really good sense of the fundamental character traits of Clark and Lois.
Absolutely.
And how they interact together and building that romance. And it felt like they betrayed a lot of it in the movie, and we were talking about it while we were watching it. And there's this certain plot, like this certain very integral plot line to the movie where Lois finds out who Clark is. She, deduces that he's Superman. And he decides to just come out to her about the whole thing. He brings her to the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
And then after one date at the fortress, he decides, I gotta give up my powers now to be with her.
But it's not even him that decides it. It's his stupid robot mom in the fortress.
She's like, if you love, you have to love as a human. And so we have to take your powers away for you to love. And he's like, I'll do it.
Lois said she's in love with me. I'll condemn the whole earth to not being saved by Superman whenever they need it.
Within a few hours of Lois Lane knowing that he's Superman and them talking to each other, he decides this. And it's not just on his side. On Lois Lane's side, she's like, oh my God, thank you for doing this for me. I can't believe you're doing this for me. And it's like, Lois, you know firsthand the importance of Superman. He saved you at the beginning of this movie.
I don't know. It just feels so hollow and alien, no pun intended, of Superman to just absolutely abandon his whole life's mission to help people just for this girl. And it's so arbitrary. It doesn't even make sense. It's like, what, really? You can't date her with your powers? Why?
It's just frustrating. It frustrates me, this movie. Let's talk about General Zod. In the first movie, we actually get to see him at the very start. Jor-El is sentencing him to his punishment to live out his life in the Phantom Zone. Yeah. At the very first scene of this movie, Superman saves Lois Lane, classic, and he throws a nuclear bomb that these terrorists have in Paris by the Eiffel Tower. He throws the nuclear bomb into space and explodes. And we later find out from Cal's mom, her hologram at the fortress, that she was like, the only thing that can bring them back is if a nuclear explosion happens in space. Dude, what are you talking about? Krypton freaking blew up billions and billions of light years away. How did they travel here? How did their little pod come all the way here?
I'm cringing, bro. I'm curling up into a little
I know.
all of fury. This movie sucks so much.
Wait.
Okay.
I do have one thing, actually.
Tell
We're
me.
going to agree with me on this.
Okay.
This is a good thing.
Okay.
That's, like, horrible. We can all admit, right?
What, the nuclear explosion in space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the scene following that goes kind of hard.
Which scene?
The scene is that Zod and his two henchmen
Yeah.
escape the Phantom Zone, and they're flying through space, and they go to the moon.
Yeah.
On the moon. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And on the moon, they end up meeting humans for the first time, seeing what civilization is like, all that.
Yeah, because there's like a moon like rover there with astronauts.
Yeah, there's some astronauts there working on some things.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole scene plays out like a freaking slasher film.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Like, they're hunting these poor fucking astronauts brutally.
These people are like, oh, who are you? And Zod just like takes out their oxygen tube, pushes them. They're like,
Yeah. When they first introduced that scene,
Mm.
it's like at that point we had a healthy mix of like things that we like and kind of campiness. And I was like, okay, we're getting back on the right direction here.
Sure.
Like Zod, this is actually kind of scary.
yeah,
like,
surely the whole movie will be like this.
yeah. But then it's just back downhill after there.
Nobody can tell me like anything good about this General Zod portrayal. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like rag on like these actors, but like,
Yeah.
dude, okay, he says kneel before Zod. That's all he has going for him, bro. He goes to the White House and makes the president kneel and then is like,
Yeah.
I am commander of the earth.
Yeah.
And now I'm bored. But I'm like, yeah, you're bored? You're not doing anything. Just
Yeah.
sitting like keeping like 10 people hostage in here.
It's really, really true. And it only gets worse when Lex Luthor comes back. Lex Luthor, finds his way through the White House.
little white flag, really.
And he offers them knowledge on where they can find Cal. And Cal at this point has already given up his powers. He's living a normal life with Lois normal, but he's really just acting like an ass out of nowhere, picking fights in diners with random guys.
Yeah, after he loses his powers. And
Very out of character.
it's absurd. I don't know. Like Superman also acts like a child in this movie because like, first of all, Superman would never like pick a fight with this dude for no reason.
Really not.
And second of all, even if he didn't have his powers, Clark Kent and Christopher Reeve is a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
This guy that he picks a fight with is not doing a thing to him. He's like this massive built farm boy from Kansas. Like, you're not walloping this guy like he gets like completely demolished, bro.
Yeah. I don't like Clark like this. Just
No.
because Clark doesn't have his powers anymore. Like, Superman would never pick a fight like this. Like, how they portrayed him in the first movie as this, like, always good, always does the right thing, always acts calm, always, if someone is deserving of getting their ass handed to him, he'll do it. But he's not gonna, like, pick a fight where he's trying to brawl with them.
Yeah, because like someone called him Four Eyes. I mean, like, bro.
It just felt out of character. It's like, this isn't not my Superman, dude.
Once Clark realizes that, like, oh my god, I'm bleeding. Maybe I shouldn't have given up my friggin' powers. He finds out about Zod, and then he's like, oh shit, need my powers back, even though literally 10 minutes ago, my mom's, like, dying message told me, if you take your powers away, that's it.
Can never get them back.
It's over.
Yeah.
Anyways, human Clark
No.
walks to the North Pole.
You see him hitchhiking.
You see him trying to hitchhike,
Along
and then
North-
after, you see him, like, hobbling and walking, and he's, like, picking up snow, like, to keep himself hydrated. I'm like,
He's dead.
what? He's so dead.
Normal person, like, he's not even in, like, deep winter clothing.
Nope.
He's in, like, a little,
He's
like,
in a flannel.
jacket.
He's in, like, a flannel, like,
Yeah.
fall, like, sporty jacket. He
Yeah.
gets to the fortress miraculously, which there's no way in hell.
Yeah.
And then he, like, picks up the fucking green crystal, and then it cuts.
We don't see him.
And then Zod's attacking the Daily Planet, and Superman's back.
They really just did that. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't even explain. They didn't show. His mom literally said in the scene prior, once you do this, there's no going back. You'll be human.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're making the right decision here. And he's like, I love her. And then he goes in, gets his powers erased, Not even a day pass, he gets them back, and we don't even see it.
It's completely disrespectful to everything that is Superman. And I'm not, there's no shade from me towards Christopher Reeve, because he's fucking
Absolutely
goated.
not.
He's so fantastic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so sorry he had to say all this dumb stuff.
I mean, even with as bad as it was, we even said to each other throughout the movie, Christopher Reeve is really carrying.
He's like
this right now.
struggling to carry this on his fucking back.
Like, but there's only so much you can do with a super charming smile, and a Superman cape flying in the wind.
It's like you get me for like a second that it's on screen, and then like the movie continues to be like fucking.
Back to Superman and his return after getting his powers back for some reason that we don't see. He has a really, really
awesome fight.
Really clunky ass fight.
I don't know. Every blow that's exchanged between Superman and Zod is just like, it's not a fight. They're just like picking each other up and like slowly like stumbling and like throwing each other, and you're just like, what am I looking at?
You know what?
Aren't you guys just having a fist fight instead?
It actually reminds me, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about,
of freaking Sabretooth from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Prancing, bro.
No.
You have to clip that.
That just remind me of that. But I was gonna say the fight scenes remind me of Spider-Man the animated series. How it's just really just clunky.
Throws people
throwing each other. There's no like brutal action, which is weird because, again, recalling to the scene where they're on the moon and they're butchering the astronauts, I'm like, oh, we're gonna see some spicy action with this one. And then it's just them like making weird like screams at each other as they're hurling each other through the city. Following this, after the fight is concluded in Metropolis, we find our way to the Fortress of Solitude with Zod, Superman, Lex Luthor, and Lois Lane.
And then Superman tricks them into using the power superpower remover that he used earlier in the movie. But like, we don't know that Superman reversed it before, so like all the villains lose their powers, and then they like all die. And then the movie's over.
That's it.
We missed one thing. You want me to take it?
Tell me.
You want me to take it?
Tell me.
Lois Lane is distraught because now...
No, not this.
Lois Lane is so distraught because she's confessed her love to Superman, and he reciprocated it, and she thought they were going to live happily ever after, but now he has his powers back, so in her like stupid like movie logic mind, she's like, well, now we can't be together, you know? And then Clark goes up to her, and he's trying to comfort her, and she says, with tears in her eyes, she says, I love you. And he kisses her, and it's a lovely tender moment until she goes like, oh, and like falls, and then everyone's like, oh, Lois, are you okay? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, what was I saying? I don't really remember what we're talking about. Superman kissed her and took her memories.
And we both, in this moment, were saying, no, don't, no.
Surely he didn't take her memories away.
This isn't happening. Not only is he not only are they breaking Superman's power set again, he can now kiss people and take their memories away.
Kissing them.
But he's actually doing this. This is...
Wait, bro. So, like, what if Lex found out his identity? Is he gonna fucking kiss him?
No, I'm telling you. And it's like, why did you do that? Superman's a menace. He just took away her whole memory.
And it's decidedly not freaking Superman.
And I just hate it because they end it like that, and then he just goes back to his heroic da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he soars off, and it just says in the credit title screen, Superman 3 coming.
And I'm like, no, please. Oh.
Okay, let's just close.
I mean,
this movie was really, really hard to watch after the first one.
Yes.
And
yes, it was.
Again, it had some good things. The Clark chemistry with Lois Lane was still really on point. but it had a
That's it, though.
lot of bad things.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There was like, truly, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. There's
Yeah.
nothing else redeemable in this movie, I think.
I'm really curious to see what Superman 3 is going to be like, because I haven't seen that either.
Dude, I'll just give you like, from what I remember, from when I watched it when I was like 9, it's about like computers and like hacking in like the 80s.
Oh, no.
It's ass.
If Superman 2 really showed its age for the time, just based off of that synopsis alone, I'm scared. But before that, we are going to be reviewing Swamp Thing from the 80s. We're both very excited and terrified at the same time to get this one done. If you guys want to follow along on our journey of reviewing every superhero movie, every comic book movie, and ranking them all in the very final climactic episode, please stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. We are the Comic Lads, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
God! This order's to go.